Welcome to the wonderful channel where books are discussed. Yes, there is a summary of this book too. If you're ready, let's get started.
Fyodor Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground is one of the most influential psychological novels ever written. It is both a confession and a philosophical reflection from a deeply conflicted man who feels alienated from society and trapped within his own mind. Written in two parts, the novel explores the narrator's inner torment, his contradictions, and his rebellion against the rational and utopian ideals of his time. The narrator, known only as the Underground Man, is a bitter, isolated former civil servant who lives in a small, dark apartment in St. Petersburg. He is 40 years old and has withdrawn completely from society. He sees himself as more intelligent and aware than others, but this very awareness makes him miserable. He describes himself as sick, spiteful, and overly self-conscious. He knows his flaws, but he cannot change them. He lives trapped in the endless cycle of overthinking and self-loathing. In the first part of the novel, often called Underground, the narrator delivers a kind of philosophical monologue. He attacks the optimistic belief of 19th century thinkers who claim that human beings are rational creatures striving for progress and happiness. He argues the opposite, that humans often act against their own interests simply to prove that they are free. To him, the desire for free will is more powerful than reason or logic. He ridicules the idea of a perfect society built on reason, comparing it to a mathematical formula where every human action could be predicted. He insists that no one truly wants to live in such a world because it would strip away individuality and the right to make mistakes. What is man without his desires, his will, and his caprice? He asks. The Underground Man believes that suffering and contradiction are essential parts of being human. This first section reads like a confession, angry, cynical, and painfully honest. The narrator oscillates between pride and humiliation. He despises society, but also despises himself. His thoughts reflect Dostoevsky's deep exploration of existentialism long before the term existed. Questions about freedom, identity, and the meaning of suffering dominate every page. The second part, titled Apropos of the Wet Snow, shifts from philosophy to personal experience. It reveals the narrator's humiliating interactions with others that have shaped his bitterness. We see how his mind, full of theory and resentment, fails completely in real life. He recalls a dinner with some old-school acquaintances. They don't respect him. He's awkward, defensive, and socially out of place. Desperate to prove his worth, he tries to force his way into their group, but they mock him. When they go to a brothel afterward, he follows them, consumed by jealousy and humiliation. At the brothel, he meets Liza, a young prostitute. In one of the novel's most emotional scenes, he speaks to her not with cruelty, but with intense, painful honesty. He tells her about her miserable life, her lost dignity, and the false promises of love and freedom. His words are harsh, but they awaken something in Liza. She begins to dream of a different life, one with meaning and respect. Later, Liza visits the Underground Man's home. She comes with genuine compassion and a desire to save him from his loneliness. But faced with real affection, he panics. He lashes out at her with anger and humiliation, mocking her feelings and forcing her to leave. The moment she departs, he breaks down in tears, realizing the depth of his cruelty and his inability to love or be loved. This scene captures the essence of Dostoevsky's message. The greatest tragedy of the human soul is the inability to connect, to love others despite understanding them deeply. The Underground Man is trapped not by society, but by his own intellect and pride. His underground is a metaphor for psychological isolation, a place of endless thought, but no action, no life, and no joy. The novel ends without resolution. The Underground Man admits that his confessions are full of contradictions and that he's tired of talking. His final words echo his despair. He cannot live authentically in the real world, yet he cannot escape his own mind. The notes end abruptly, suggesting that his story, like the human struggle for meaning, has no neat conclusion. Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground is a haunting study of human consciousness. It challenges the idea of rational progress and exposes the irrational forces that drive us: pride, pain, rebellion, and the desperate need to be seen. The novel laid the foundation for modern existentialism, inspiring later thinkers like Sartre, Camus, and Nietzsche. At its core, this is a book about the conflict between thought and action, freedom and suffering, and the painful awareness of one's own contradictions. The underground man's life is tragic because he understands too much but feels too little. His notes are not just a confession of one man, but a mirror held up to all of humanity, showing how our greatest strength, consciousness, can also be our greatest curse.
The summary of another book is finished. What did you learn from this book? Have you read it before? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe and like the channel.